Everyone wants to be happy. But did you know there's an actual science behind it? It's true. An Amherst College professor and author, Catherine Sanderson, came in to explain it to us. Anderson just released a new book called The Positive Shift, and she spoke with Carolee McGrath in the studio.
I wrote this book really after talking a lot about, with a number of different people, broad audiences, all of the different ways in which our thoughts and our behavior influence how we feel, our happiness, but also our physical health, how we recover from surgery, whether we get infected with the common cold, even how long we live. And basically this book is a culmination of research by lots of different people in psychology and neuroscience and biology that looks at the mind-body connection and its powerful influence on everything.
So is there a science for happiness?
There is, and what's really exciting is that we're knowing more and more about it. So some of the most exciting research is actually being done looking at brain activity, so MRI data, genes, to look at, are there people who consistently feel happy? You probably know people. Maybe you are one of those people.
Sometimes. Yeah. Ask my kids, not all the time.
So there are people in the world who kind of go through life and can easily find that silver lining, who always can find something good no matter what. And those people actually experience lots of benefits. They can overcome adversity, they are healthier, they live longer. And the important part of this book is really that it's wonderful if you're one of those people, but if you're not, there are also things you can do. So I'm actually not one of those people.
And you seem so happy right now.
And people say that to me all the time, and I'm like, yeah, but it's because I've practiced. I am somebody who really spent most of my teenage years, my college years, frankly, my professional life, being anxious, ruminating about things, worrying. And as I started to read and do research on this topic, it became clear to me that I had a choice, and that I don't have this natural genetic predisposition to happiness, but there are things that we can all do, thoughts and behaviors, that make us feel better.
So give us some specifics on that, because I find that interesting, because some people say you can actually practice this stuff.
You can, and frankly, you should, right, if you're not someone who comes by it naturally. So one set of things are behaviors that we can do, and there are different ones that work for different people, so I want to be real clear about that. It's not a one-size-fits-all. But one of the very consistent findings, spending time in nature. So you and I are talking on what is a beautiful day outside, and lots of research has shown that spending time outside, looking at nature even through a window, actually has a tremendous boost on our happiness.
Really? What about exercise?
Exercise is another one, that people who are exercising experience a boost, endorphins, that actually makes them feel better. We also know that giving to other people makes us feel happy, and that could be donating to charity. It could be volunteering. It could be paying for the person's coffee in the drive-through Dunkin' line behind you. You know, it's
fun, right?
Which is always so fun. So giving to other people in almost any way makes us feel better.
And I think part of that is, and you mentioned people who always see a silver lining, is being grateful, even regardless of your position in life, whether your finances are good or they're not good, or your family situation is good or not, finding that ability to be grateful. And some people are just so good at that, or maybe they're born that way.
Well, and I think yes and yes, right? So there are people who are born that way, who can always say, oh, here are all these things that I'm grateful for. And there are other people that can learn to do that. So one of the techniques I talk about in the book is, before you go to bed at night, writing down 3 things that you're grateful for right now. You know, not things you'll be grateful for once you retire, you know, win the lottery, whatever. Right now, what are you grateful for?
Right, because you can start going through a list in your head. Oh, I had a bad day. I have 8 loads of laundry still to be done. You know, I tripped over another shoe walking into the house. And that's, you know, it sounds silly, but it definitely can spark you. But writing that down, saying, but I have laundry to clean. I have a house to walk into. I have kids. All of those things are things to write down.
Absolutely. And one of the most important things, I think, is that doing that right before you go to bed changes your mindset as you sleep. That many people go to sleep at night and they think about their to-do list. What are the problems they're facing? What are these upcoming things? And so simply taking that time, 5 minutes before you go to sleep, and writing those things down, centering you, actually helps you sleep better. And that's another behavior that makes us feel happier and healthier.
Right, so that's just a practical method there. Talk to me a little bit about social media. Do you touch on that, and how important is that in our lives?
Well, there's an entire chapter, and I'm going to give you the preview of the title of the chapter, which is the Teddy Roosevelt quote, not mine. But the quote is, "Comparison is the thief of joy."
So true.
So true, isn't it?
Yes.
And so here's the thing. Comparison of all types makes us feel worse. So you're aware of your 8 loads of laundry. You're not aware everybody else has their own 8 loads of laundry. It's everybody else's life looks perfect, looks easy. And social media plays right into that when everybody on social media posts wonderful accomplishments of their children, their fabulous vacations, this great meal they're having. And it forces us to do these comparisons that can then make us feel worse about ourselves.
And it can lead to anxiety for sure, because you're thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't do that today, or I didn't do that on the last holiday. Do you recommend that people, give it a break? Or do you recommend people completely quit it? How do you deal with this?
Yeah, so I think it's complicated. And so I think one thing is really being authentic about who you are on social media. I think so many people go out of their way to present only the good instead of presenting things they can really struggle with. So I'll use an example that's very personal to me. So my mother died about 15 years ago, and on Mother's Day, it was just a brutal holiday for me, because if you go on Mother's Day, on social media, it's here I am at brunch with my mom and best mom ever and whatever. And it was a horrible day for me. And what I started doing instead was on Mother's Day, I would go on social media and I would post a picture of me and my mom, and I would say, I'm really missing my mom today. Today is a really hard day for me. And then I would tag all the different people I knew who'd also lost their moms, of which, of course, there are many people and more every year. And overwhelmingly, so many people reached out and supported me, but also said, thank you for acknowledging that today is a hard day for me as well, that I appreciate you thinking about me and my missing mom as well. And so that's an example of not staying away from social media, but being honest when your life isn't perfect, isn't easy, when you're struggling with things, and can then use some support.
Do you think that sometimes we also, think certain things are going to make us happy, right? If we just get this job, if we just had this much money, if we were just in this relationship, always waiting for that next big thing to happen. I mean, that can really be counterproductive.
Absolutely. And there's fabulous research that illustrates this principle that we're always thinking happiness is just around this corner. If I just had $5,000 more, or if I just got into college, or if I just got a promotion, or if I just got whatever, bought a house, and then that thing happens, and immediately you're happy.
And then you're not.
And then you just acclimate. Then it's just your life, right? Then it's just your life with an extra $5,000 that you've now spent. And so, yes, I think it's really important to recognize that we don't find happiness in the pursuit of possessions, and we acclimate very quickly to newfound achievements and accomplishments, money, et cetera.